Hello, would you like to come on a journey with me? A journey to discover the absolute miracle of astrology. And if you've ever tried to learn astrology before, I can assure you that this way is probably the easiest way that there will ever be to learn it, because you're just going to learn how to read your birth chart. Once you've started with that, then it's easy to pick up all the rest. What we're not going to do on this course is go into the complex and difficult stuff first, stuff that you've never heard of. On this course, we start with zodiac signs, and everybody knows zodiac signs. We all know our sun sign, for instance. And by starting it that way, we get the confidence and some encouragement to stay with it. I remember starting an astrology course when I was in my 20s. And I only attended the first 3 lectures. I got so utterly lost that I couldn't go back. I felt so stupid. And it was many years later, many years later, 20 years later, that I managed to learn how to do it. And all the time I kept thinking, why am I having to learn how to draw a horoscope when computers do it now? Why do they make us do that and then take an exam on it? It's so hard. It's impossible. So I thought, no, when my time comes, and we're going to do it differently. We're going to learn all the cool stuff first. And we're going to learn the psychology, because that is the stuff that relieves pain, helps understanding. These are all the things that we study astrology for. Well, that and the miraculous wow you get every day that you're studying. So I bought out a book. It's cheap, £13. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get a copy from me, a signed copy from me if you email me, or you can get it from Inner Traditions, who published it, and they're in the United States. And all you need is that book. All these videos will be free. I've partnered up with astro.com, and they have done some work with their website to allow you to exactly copy the wheel design that I use. And that's it. We're ready to go. You don't need anything else. Ha! Cheap, huh? So, and I hope you'll enjoy this journey. I have enjoyed every single astrology course I've ever taught, and there has been dozens. And each time I learn something new. So, and I really want to be with you on your journey as well. I really want this. I want this so much. This is why it's all free. Anyway, so yes, it would be great if you could get the book. In fact, the video accompanies the book. The book should come first. However, I'll forgive you if you're curious and you just want to have a listen first and see what it's like. No problem. I'll try to make up for the fact that you haven't got the book. Okay. Now, I've got some stuff saved already on my computer here, which I can share so we can get on with it. But first of all, there is something I want to do. We are starting this course, or I am recording the start of this course on the new moon in Gemini. And this is on the 6th of June, 2024. And I'm hoping that by starting this on the new moon in Gemini, this course is going to get the best possible start. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you. I'm just moving. It's like, you see, I'm not a tech person really, so I have to, all these things don't come quickly. There we go. Right, I'm going to share. Okay, this means nothing to you at the moment. I'm going to explain it a bit. Let me do that. But first of all, I want to show you something up here, right? So this is the top of the sky right now, and this is the horizon. And this is everything that's in the sky right now above our heads. And this is everything on the other side of planet Earth. That's not too difficult, is it? And you can probably pick out the sun and moon. You see, that looks like a moon, right? You're right, it's a moon. And that looks like the sun, an age-old symbol for the sun. Yes, it is. Now, this this is Venus, I'll just tell you that. So we've got Venus at 16, the sun at 16, whatever that means. And we've got the moon at 15, but 1556. We've only got 4 more itsy bitsy bits before that is at 16 as well. And this midheaven here, called the MC, is as fast as the moon will move, this will move. And so in a like nanoseconds, everything will read 16 here, and does by now. Okay, so I just want this to go down into posterity. I've also chosen that we should have the zodiac sign of Virgo here. This is the horizon, as I've just said, and everything rises up this way. So the rising sign at the moment is Virgo, because I think that'll be useful for us on this course. Yes, it will. Okay. Right. So I'm going to stop sharing that now. And I'm going to start to talk to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some bits out of the book. And then I'm also going to use some bits on odd things that I've got here ready. And so hopefully I've not done it like this before. It should all come together. Okay, so I'm going to do a share again, aren't I? Right, let's do this share. And I'm going to pick to start with. Let's pick this one. Okay, so and share this. Okay, now this is all very sort of like a back of an envelope drawn by me, I'll be honest. But in the book, you get it with a little bit more class. But here you just get me using a basic word program, but it'll do. This is fine. This is fair enough. Now, everything starts, we'll all agree this, won't we? Everything starts with oneness. One energy, the singularity, unity, whatever it is, the primordial material, the first material that there is, out of which all life springs. Now, we're told in various mythologies that, you know, this is water, or it's an egg, or it's mud, but who knows? Okay, but we can work with this. It starts with a oneness. That oneness, however, is the oneness that we can understand from being here in our universe and looking around at our dimension with its width and height and depth that we can measure. In actual fact, our oneness, our universe, and I mean universe, one verse, is not all there is. There is apparently, according to quantum science, there are many other verses or universes. There are multiverses, and they estimate about 11 actually, invisible to us. But if I sit here and wave my hand around, I am waving it through something called dark matter and dark energy, which we can't interact with, we can't exchange with. However, they know it's there because it's the only thing that explains how our universe remains in existence. And for that matter, how our solar system remains in existence. Now, a solar system, solar, sun, is a sun system. So there's a sun in the middle, and there's a system around it, and the system is the planets whizzing around. And we are on the third planet from the sun, moving outwards, Earth. Okay, yeah, we can get that, you know, a universe, yeah. But these other multiverses supply and provide the answer to how astrology works, but not just astrology, spiritual. Anything that is invisible, incorporeal, anything we can't touch, taste, or feel, things that we know are there, suspect, think. How does a clairvoyant know? How does somebody who suddenly gets flashes of inspiration and can predict the future, where did that come from? And if we go back to the beginning of history, we are sure that humans looked at the sky, which, let's face it, is pretty amazing, and thought, well, it must come from there. They looked at this changing sky and knew just by looking at it that there was so much more than just the Earth. Okay, now I'm just going to show you something here. So this is an image taken from NASA, and it's to do with how the multiverse is made up, or our universe. Okay, so they estimate that there is 73% of dark energy anywhere. So in this room with me, 73% is dark energy. 23% is dark matter. I don't know how they distinguish between the two, but in astrology this works. And then 4% is normal matter. So within the 4%, this is our whole universe. This is the oneness. This is the singularity. So there's all this dark stuff on the other side. We can call it heaven, we can call it hell, we can call it the duat, call it what you like. But there's all that other stuff which is alongside us like tapestry. It's like if a tapestry has a backing to it and has thread going through it, and you see one side, our dimension, but underneath there's all the stuff we don't see. That's the dark energy and the dark matter. And so I'm just looking at this. So we have dark matter and dark energy and hidden invisible forces, the underworld, which actually produced our dimension, right? So in a sudden bang, we're told, a big bang, our dimension was suddenly formed out of energy, pure energy. Apparently the energy has got little tiny whizzy things, and the whizzy things got together, and then they started to attract each other, and they formed into lattices, apparently. So if we take matter, solid matter, my hand, I might think it's solid, but in actual fact it's not. They got a giant microscope and they looked at matter, not my hand, I wasn't there, I was joking. So they looked at matter and they thought, we're going to find the solid bit. So the microscope goes in, finds molecules, it finds atoms, it finds all these tiny little things, but they don't come to a solid bit. No solid bit? No. Go all the way through? No solid bit. It seems that things are solid because of whizzing energy. So it's like little packets of whizzing energy create this kind of force field or something that makes it feel solid. So it's organized into something tight and held on tight with. Okay. Now, this forms the basis of my astrology, all this, because it explains everything. And with an explanation, I feel that I can trust my astrology because I think, I know how that works now. So if I know how it works, then, my questions can be answered. And I can see how this happens. And so it makes sense. So I want to bear in mind throughout the whole of this course that there are these other dimensions, a multiverse on the other side, that the dark matter and dark energy is there. I'm going to tell you the correspondences. So the dark matter corresponds with the element of water, The dark energy corresponds with the element of fire. I'm going to do all that so you can, in your mind, fit it all into place. And once you do that, you can start to talk to the cosmos, the overall, undefinable, sentient, intelligent, pure energy, pure light, divinity, whatever. You can start to talk to cosmos in a different way because you'll understand the structure. Okay. So, we're starting with this oneness, out of which there was a sudden Big Bang. Now, the Big Bang could equally be called the fall of man, as it was in the Bible. Yeah, works, doesn't it? It's really any enormous, catastrophic, huge change. When this Big Bang happened, pure energy turned into matter. And I'm talking now about the matter in our dimension, in the 4%. So the matter in the 4% is everything we can touch or taste or feel. So it's the earth and it's houses and it's water and it's books and that kind of stuff, right? Okay, now hang on to all of that, because what I want to do now, just one second, talk amongst yourself. You'll find out that I'm a kind of irrelevant teacher, really. I'm just sort of like make it all light-hearted. So what we've got there is that fire, spirit or energy. Now, the element of fire. So the element of fire, which is also spirit, which is also energy, converted into the element of earth and matter, anything that is corporeal. And that sort of happened in the Big Bang of science and the fall of man, of religion, okay, Christianity. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do now then is go back to the share. And I'm showing that one. Okay. I'm going back to this share. And we're going to look at how this works in astrology. So we've got that oneness, we've talked about it. It's actually 4% of the whole 100%, which is the cosmos, but that 4% is our whole universe. Okay. The oneness, the singularity, the unity, and it's all connected in the whole 100% as well. The 4% is connected to that. So the everything that comes out of that singularity, everything that comes out of that oneness, as we shall see, for our purposes in this dimension, has an equal on the other side too. Okay, so we divide this oneness into two poles. So this is like the poles of the Earth, North Pole, South Pole, okay? Now, you will have heard of these before because we're talking yin and yang of the Taoist symbol. So we have feminine on the one side, which is yin, and we have masculine on the other side, which is yang. Unfortunately, we stuck with the terms feminine and masculine, although they suggest gender. It doesn't, in astrology, that doesn't imply gender, it implies behavior. So you can have a man who has feminine qualities, you could have a woman who has masculine qualities. But we have to live with those terms, even though now there is sort of a pejorative thing about a masculine and feminine. It's what that means is it's the way it behaves, not the gender it was born with. Okay. So we get masculine and feminine, and this is the duality, right? So this is the duality of the Egyptians, for instance. They absolutely understood that life was a duality. And I think you'll find it in most religions, because at least those icons at the top of the religion, or their elite religious whatever they are, they are you will normally find that you get gender female and gender male. So you'll get, I'm just thinking Christianity, it's popped into my head. So you get Jesus Christ and you get Mother Mary, okay? And the Taoist system, okay, so you've got yin and yang. The duality is something that comes into absolutely everything in our dimension and the other dimension as well. It's repeated in everything. So if you, for instance, get a battery, you'll see that it's got a plus on one side and it's got a minus on another. That is the duality. You've got masculine on one side, feminine on the other. You've got night and day, dark and light. We'll talk about this more in a little while. Okay, so we're going to divide these polarities, this duality, we're going to divide it up again. The feminine is going to be divided into two elements, and the elements are water and earth. And the masculine, the yang, is going to be divided into air and fire. Okay, probably if you're spiritual, you've already heard of the elements water, earth, air, fire. And that's good because those are familiar terms with you now. And then I'm going to say that those elements are divided again into the 12 zodiac signs. Now, these are the ones that are so familiar to you. So we've got under the element of water, we've got Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then under the element of earth, we've got Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And then on the masculine side, we've got air, and air gives birth to Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And fire has Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now, with all of these, what I've done is I've started with the lowest sign, the most junior. Then we have a middle sign, and then we have the highest expression of the element coming last. Okay, now, I'm afraid, although this is the easy way to learn astrology, it's not easy if you don't like learning things, because you're going to have to learn these things. You're going to have to know what the water signs are, just like that. You're going to have to know what the elements are. You're going to have to know if they're feminine or masculine. These building blocks are essential. You can't actually read your chart without instinctively knowing what these are. So I'm just hoping that you'll be real good and you'll study this. So what you can do is you can put it on your fridge, draw this. You'll make a much better job than I did, and put it on your fridge door. So every time you go for a bottle of milk, you'll see it, right? And you'll learn a bit more. Now, I'm going to go back to this two poles, right? To the masculine and the feminine. And there's two symbols here. There's a minus symbol there and a plus symbol there. The minus symbol is for feminine yin. It's also called negative. And then we've got a plus symbol there, which is masculine yang, and it can be called the positive. Again, pejorative. It's, you know, that it gives an impression of something which is good or not good. And unfortunately, we can't really change those things because they're sort of like thousands of years old. But I tend to use yin and yang personally because I think it is less sort of accusatory. Now, to understand the difference between these two, oh my, to understand that. This is just life itself. It's just everything. It's just understanding the behavior of masculine, the behavior of feminine is absolutely intrinsic to astrology. And I would actually say that if you if you learn the masculine and feminine inside out, really get it, really grasp that and know that you've got it, I think you're halfway there, because everything in astrology boils down to this egg cup at the end of the day, masculine and feminine. It's just at the bottom of everything. So years from now, when you are getting into a highly technical thing, you know your astrology inside out, you're still in the phase where you wake up at 4 a.m. and grope for the astrology book so you can read a few more pages. And yes, you will get into that. We've all done it. And you're in that, but you'll be looking for more and more of a buzz, more and more of a hit, more and more of that wow factor. So you'll go into all of these rare, technical, weird astrological thingies. And then you'll be wailing with frustration. Oh, I can't work this out. How does that work with this? I don't get it. And I will say to you, go back to the basics and just look at the masculine and the feminine. That's all you need. You'll get it if you do that. And yeah, they usually do get it when they do that, but nobody wants to remember that, do they? That's, it's too easy. Okay. One of the things that we will have to get over immediately is talking about this masculine feminine thing and gender. Nobody can tell, looking at a birth chart, whether the baby is masculine or feminine, male or female, sorry. Nobody can tell. Nowhere in your chart does it say you're male or you're female. Astrology doesn't take it into account. It's not important in the world of astrology. It's amazing, isn't it? So it doesn't matter whether you identify with the sex of your birth. You can understand yourself so much better and understand yourself completely if you simply look at the weighting or how much masculine or feminine, so yang or yin energy is in your chart. That you can tell. So you can get a female, born a female, and they can have some very masculine traits. And so you would say, there's a masculine female. You can be born a male, and you can have some wondrously delicate, emotional feminine traits. And that's who you are. So you're a yin character. It doesn't matter that you were born a male. So we needn't get all kind of hung up on saying he and she. Sometimes we do it just to be convenient. But what the answer is to think about it in terms of behaviors rather than the sex we're born with. So astrology copes quite well with the latest thinking in these matters. There is a general truth, and that is that women will express their feminine more easily than men do, but that's because of cultural conditioning, which has required men to distance themselves from females because females were seen as lesser, not as talented, nor as deserving as the males. And so because it was agreeable to be born a male because you're so much better than being a female, it's lots of males have culturally been, and subliminally really, without knowing it, have been in a system which supports the masterful male and the dutiful woman. Well, it's, we don't need to astrology never supported that, and we don't really need to look at it and worry about we're going to get it right or wrong. But as psychology is concerned, as I was saying, men will try to hide their feminine traits because they don't want them to be seen. It's not tough and rugged enough. So you'll have to bear that in mind when you're reading charts. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're going to look at this list here, because they give us a rough idea really of masculine and feminine, and what one is and what the other is. And I've got the book here, so I'm looking in the book while you're looking at that, right? So masculine is on the right. Okay, let's do that one first then. So we've got yang and we've got maleness. It tends to be associated with maleness. We've got light as opposed to dark. The feminine is normally allied with dark, and the masculine is normally allied with light. Masculine is conscious. Feminine is about the unconscious. The feminine is union-oriented. The masculine is freedom-oriented. So this means that the feminine wants union, wants to be joined together, whereas the masculine wants to be free to go off and do his own thing. Feminine is introverted. It pulls in, whereas masculine is extroverted. Then we've got the feminine holding in, receptive, whilst the masculine surges outwards. Think about, I'm just pausing there for a moment. When we think about this surging outwards, I just want for a second for you to think about fire. So if you look at a fire, the flames lick upwards, don't they? Okay. Video that fire and then turn it upside down and watch it. And it looks just like water falling down. And so the water falling down in the waterfall is going down to earth. That's feminine, and water is feminine. Fire leaping upwards for the sky, masculine. So surging outwards, passive for feminine, active for masculine, wanting to joining will join people in, feminine, whereas the masculine will be separating and wish to separate and to separate others. The feminine synthesizes means to mix together, whereas masculine wants to differentiate. The feminine is responsive, whilst the masculine initiates. So this instigates and initiates, begins things. The feminine responds. The feminine is inhibited. The masculine is spontaneous and doesn't like to be inhibited. The feminine is indirect. The masculine is direct. And then we have as opposites, concealing or hiding with feminine, open, says the masculine, integrating with the feminine, self-assertive with the masculine, doubting feminine, confident masculine, reflective feminine, impulsive masculine, subjective feminine, objective masculine, adapting and accepting feminine, trying to assert will masculine. And just a reminder, there we've got earth and water and fire and air. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing again. Okay. Now, a useful way to imagine masculine is to think about the sun and the solar radiation. So radiating, pouring outwards, going outwards in straight lines, straight out. Now think about gravity. Okay, so gravity is pulling in. Gravity is feminine, and pulls in. Everything is pulled into the center. So solar radiation pushes out, the sun, fire, masculine. Feminine, gravity, pulling in. This will help you to imagine it. Otherwise, it's a concept you've got to get used to. Too much masculine can be very destructive, but too much feminine can also be very destructive. In fact, if we go right to the very end of the continuum in terms of feminine and masculine, we go right to the end of feminine before it curls around on itself, or right to the end of masculine, we will find that the too much is so very, very destructive. And at this point, I'm also going to say neither is better. And this is a hard one because we've had years of training on this. Masculine's better. Well, it's not. Look at the two ends of the battery again. One can't work without the other one anyway. And the masculine all by itself wouldn't be here for very long, not without the feminine. So try to not sort of think about one as being better than the other. Just try to be sort of sitting on the fence in the middle of the two. The rugby is not the rugby, the tug of war teams, that's right, pulling, masculine pulling and feminine pulling, that sit in the middle and just watch them. So we've got the hero's journey in mythology, and this is a tale of masculinity. We find the female tending the home in the absence of the male, who is supposed to be out there clubbing the beast and dragging it back by its hair. He takes it back to the woman, who identifies with her feminine traits more easily than a man. So she tends the fire and feeds the babies. Neither role is easy, neither role. What we can do is we can get too much, as I've already said, too much masculinity, too much femininity. And in that case, you get this extremely destructive stuff. Now, I think what I'll do is I will look at that now, this extreme, and maybe we'll then end the video so they don't get too long. Right, just a second. I'm just going to, yeah, let's do that. So let's share again. And we're on this one now, aren't we? Yay, share. Right. Okay. Now in the book, this we're on page 15. Okay. And you'll see there that there's a smaller table there. The table I've just read out is that one with some things added. And then the smaller table is the one we're looking at now. Because I think we need to understand how very extreme these can both get, and therefore how devouring. Okay, so this I sort of devised for myself on the back of an envelope, and used a word program. So it's I'm sorry about the fact that it is so school bookish, or no, not even that. It's like third year at school. Look what I've learned to do. Okay, so let's just take extreme feminine and extreme masculine. Okay, the extreme feminine, right? Feminine is about valley and depth. It's Carl Jung actually who highlighted this, but when you start to think about it, you get it straight away. Oh yeah, sure it is, yeah. Now the extreme masculine is about sky and height. The opposites again. Now, this is what separates them, feelings. Now, in extreme feminine, we get feelings and we get seething emotion and primordial desire. We get this clawing for life. this sort of devouring, wrathful, consuming, destructive thing, which is all feelings. I mean, when you have been subject to your worst feelings, when a lover has left you, for instance, hell hath no fury, it's then that you fully get this devouring, wrathful, consuming, destructive, you know. This is when you get the scissors out and you cut all through his clothes, because how dare he. Okay, now let's go on the other side and look at lack of feelings. So we've got extreme overfeel in the extreme feminine, okay? In the extreme masculine, we've got extreme underfeel, a lack of feelings, emotionally cut off, not in touch with emotions at all. Now, because of that, we get a series of behaviors there which are unacceptable. We get forced penetration. There's a psychopathy about the whole thing, psychopaths. And we also get this utopian vision of extreme perfection, like the Aryan race, which ends up destroying. It is destructive. The only reason that I wanted to put those extremes in front of you is for you to see where it gets to and why we want to bring it into the middle, why we don't want to get it that far down the continuum. And how do these get together? How does the feminine get together with masculine if they have such bitter and dreadful agendas? Okay, well, in order, as we know, in order for there to be life, they have to come together. The feminine reaches out to the masculine with sexual guile and seeks to join, spawn, and procreate. That sexual guile is very important. It's a very real tool in the toolbox of the feminine. Okay, we've got masculine there. How can masculine approach the feminine? That's how the feminine approaches the masculine for the joining. How does masculine approach the feminine? So the masculine must appease and pacify the feminine. It can force itself on the feminine, as we know, but it can also coax her into willingness. And when we do, then, as we know, we get a somewhat maybe difficult, but nevertheless, we get this joining, which brings us into the territory of the world of two, as opposed to the world of one. Okay, now, I don't know how long I've been talking for, but probably this is a good time for a break. Okay, yeah, okay, let me stop sharing. Right, I'm actually going to stop there, because I think if you haven't seen anything of this type before, then you're probably a bit by now. Now I'm just going to remember that we got up to page 16. Okay, so I'll remember that. I'm going to stick my little bit of paper in there. And what do you think? Nothing like astrology, really, is it yet? But the thing is, we have got to learn these basics in order to understand astrology. If someone just puts facts in front of us, okay, so these are the key words for the 12th house. This is what happens in transiting astrology when we get a semi-square between two planets. Then you're learning about stuff. You're learning just because someone's told you that you've got to learn it, without understanding the root cause, what makes it like that, why we're learning this. I think it's absolutely important that we have a real understanding of how the cosmos is made up, and how the cosmos works in order for us to be able to be equipped to do the best we can with ourselves and others in this world. Okay. So that was lesson 1, and I've really enjoyed it. And as I say, I started on the new moon in Gemini, so on the 6th of June, and let's see how long this video lasts. If you're watching this video 10 years from now, please email me and tell me that it's still out there. Or if you're, I'm probably only going to get 2 people watching this, right? I'll have 2 students, I just know it. So hopefully the 2 students will at least go through the second a second one of the series as well. After that, I'm sure I'll be talking to my cats who are around me or listening. Anyway, thank you. That was number 1. Number 2, go find it and get the book and everything. And if you've got any questions, don't forget, go to the Easy Way to Learn Astrology Facebook page and put your question on there and I will answer it. Well, maybe not in 10 years because I'll be 80 years old then, but okay. Lovely to talk to you, and I'm going to stop recording. Bye.